Now, what if I told you that there's some really simple things that pretty much everyone does that keeps our vibration, quote unquote, low? Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with a low vibration, because that could have the tendency to judge our vibration, which would actually end up keeping it low. Because it's about embracing the full spectrum, right? But there are certain things that we can let go of that allows our vibration to naturally rise. And I believe that our vibration is naturally high because we are all source. And it's just that when we have a split in our vibration, that's what the quote unquote low vibration is that we're just at odds with our true self. And if we let go of these things, it'll allow us to naturally synchronize with source, and then our vibration will come up into love, will come up into bliss, will come up into more states of joy and flow. So the first thing is controlling outcomes. Now, this is a really easy thing that can be a very ingrained thought pattern that many of us grow up with, which is the idea that in order for me to be happy, I need to change things in the external world. I need things in the external world to be different. Now let's go back a second. I need, right? So whenever we have a vibration of needing the external world to change, we're automatically in a vibration that it's not changing. We're in a vibration of lack, because we're in the limitation, the limited thinking or the limiting belief that in order for me to get happy, things out here need to change. And as soon as we start letting go of needing anything, anyone else, or even the world itself to be any different than it is for us to be happy, we can start finding that happiness within ourselves. We can start to realize that we don't have to control the external world when we can control, quote unquote, how we feel about the external world. And this can be a challenging thing, because it's essentially saying that circumstances don't matter. And you could say, well, this is causing this and it's causing me to feel this way. And it's like, yeah, it's good that it's bringing you to feeling that. It's good because it's giving you that information about reality so that you can choose to feel that, and you can choose to focus on the new. You can choose to focus on what it is that is causing you to look at what it is that you want. And you'll start to attract that. And then letting go of controlling the outcomes is also letting go of needing to control what other people are doing in order for me to be happy. And this can be challenging too, especially in a close relationship. I had this come up recently in my relationship where we were trying to kind of solve what was going on in our relationship and not understanding, like not liking that the other person wasn't responding in a certain way. And that what I eventually realized is that if I bring my attention to myself and I get tapped into source, then it's like, I love you no matter what you're thinking. I love you no matter what you think about me. I love you. I'm choosing to focus on feeling good. I'm choosing to not make this other person responsible for how I feel. And I'm letting go of the outcome. And this is also like letting go of the outcome, then you feel more emotionally free inside of yourself. And it's the same thing with creating, like say, for example, creating this video. It's like, I'm doing this because I love doing this. That's what I realized before I got on to shoot this video. Is like, I just really want to share this video. I want to do this video and I want to share this because it's what I'm passionate about. And it's like, it's not even about the outcome of how many people see it. And I know that when I'm plugged into that, that's when I'm my most powerful. That's when I have something to share. That's what it's like inspiring for me to share whatever's there. But if we're trying to control the outcome, in a way it kind of blocks the flow and keeps us in the same thought patterns. And it's kind of like the same thing as the more you try to solve a problem, the more the problem gets bigger. Why is that? Because you're focusing on the problem instead of going to the vibration of the solution. So when you let go of needing to control the outcomes, then you can go to the solution. You can synchronize the source. And it just allows everything to flow. It allows you to get into that receiving mode. It allows you to be happy. And funny enough, when you're happy, regardless of what it is, this thing you think needs to change, because the external is a reflection of the internal, that thing can't help but, something can't help but change. As your vibration is naturally raising, you become a match to whatever's going on with your vibration. 2, holding on to the past, right? Anything that we're continuing to see the present through the lens of the past can basically keep us in those patterns, in those thought patterns, in those emotional patterns. So if we're holding on to things that happened in the past, then we're also seeing the lens of our present through the eyes of what happened. And this can keep us continuing to see things in that same way. So how do we shift that? Coming into the present moment. Becoming aware that your present isn't defined by your past. And that if we think that things are going to go the same way because of how they went in the past, then we're just reactivating the same emotions around sitting and basically remembering and reminiscing and how things didn't go right. But as we start to let go of that, as we start to recognize that we can live our life in the present moment, that anything can happen. And this has happened with me too. What I realized is that when I was going on this journey of creation, whenever I would kind of get focused on those moments of failure, or when something didn't happen the way I want, again, controlling the outcome. Like a video didn't do as good as I wanted, or something wasn't happening as fast as I wanted it with the money or whatever. The more that I would focus on the past, the more that it would drag me down into that, when's it gonna happen, or is it happening, or, just bringing you into that same state. And it's like that mind-body connection is like, and essentially, to create happens in the moment. So if you're trying to prove your worthiness, if you're trying to look back at the past and figure out why that didn't work or this didn't work, and it's like the same thing with, what they say about successful people with success mindset is that they go through 1,000 failures and never give up because they never see it as a failure. They just see it as opportunities to learn. So then it's like even being able to look back and be like, oh, everything has led me up to this moment, would help me to let go of that pressure that I'm a failure, or that it's not happening, or when's it gonna happen, and just let go and come into the moment and follow your joy. And then the real trick of it is, whoa, if I truly focus on being present in my life and being happy and doing what I'm passionate about, and I just let go of the past and I don't let those little failures define me, will I be successful? But then the only way to know is to do it. But then again, it's like that's when your vibration is high. That's when you're inspired. When you're inspired, you have access to creative ideas. Creative ideas lead to success because everything first starts as an idea. It's an ideas game. Every inventor knows that it's an ideas game. Every company starts with an idea. It all starts with an idea. And so when you're at that naturally high vibration, you're in the receiving mode of those inspirations and those ideas. And you're also more in the momentum of your inspiration and doing what you're passionate about, following your purpose, following your bliss. But if we let the past stop us, then it's like we're getting blocked at every moment. Why isn't it working? Da, 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 da. And it's like, well, you gotta change on the level of thinking. And there's different entry points. You can go to the emotion, right? Go to the feeling back of these thought patterns. Go to the feeling and start to work and play a game of how to ease that. Start to play a game of how to let go of the attachment. To think like, instead of thinking like, I didn't remember that moment, it didn't work out or whatever, and thinking to yourself, but I had fun doing that. Or, yeah, it wasn't working out, or when's it gonna happen? Or bringing your attention back to everything is always working out for me. Everything's coming together. Everything's, coming together, and everything's happening. And sometimes things take timing. And you don't have to take yourself all the way to the place of absolute faith. Just take yourself to the place even where you're like, oh, well, maybe I could feel a bit better about this. Or, well, yeah, everything does have its own appointed hour. Oh, yeah, everything does have its own timing. Or I have seen in the past when I thought I had failed or things didn't work out that there was something greater in that I needed to see or I needed to learn. And I'm thankful for that, because now it led me to here and I have a greater perspective. And just kind of work yourself up into a place of clarity and put it into context, reframe it. And then you can start to let go of the meaning that you put upon that in the past, and you can start to put yourself into more of like a blank canvas. Just give yourself the chance to play with how you feel and your vibration and your relationship to reality, and being able to change the definition of actually all those things happen to make me a success. 3, force rather than flow. When we try to force things, it's coming from a place of that same need or that same lack or desperation almost, of needing to push through to the point where we're pushing against. Rather than just letting things unfold and allowing ourselves to flow and to enjoy the process. And the thing about it is it can be very draining, because it's different to access the strength within yourself and to stay consistent and to never give up. But it's another thing to push to try to make something happen. In the moment when you're vibrationally pushing, what it's doing is it's actually draining you, because you have, again, an attachment to the outcome. And again, it's in a way holding on to the past, because you're saying that it isn't already happening in a way. But if you're showing up isn't needing to prove yourself. Showing up isn't needing to break through the barrier. Showing up is the presence of consciousness fully coming into the moment and being available to now, being available to possibility, being available to noticing something new. And so what can I appreciate right now? Appreciation is the juice of flow. So if I'm appreciating and I'm allowing myself to get in the flow, I'm letting go of needing to force things. Because force, again, is control, and control all comes back from that splitting from source. When you're synchronized with source, you don't need to control anything. because everything is working on your behalf. When we need to control everything, it comes back to trust. That we can't trust in life. We can't trust in ourselves, that we can't trust that the right idea will come to us. We can't trust the guidance, so we have to do it all ourselves. But none of us is really a separate self. Separate self is an illusion. We are all that source, and we are all the most powerful when we're connected to that source. And we're most tapped into the resources of life, not just the things, but the energies and the ideas and the inspirations and the connections with other people and the connections to the environment and nature and, you know, all the elements of life. And then we get into this beautiful place of trust. So if you've been trying to force things, just remember that it's about trust. Remembering to give ourselves the opportunity to go into our hearts and to trust life and to surrender. Surrendering to the mystery, allowing things to unfold and come through. And the more that you do that, the more it all just happens. The more it all just works out for you. Because it's all here for you. So bonus again, wanted to give a little extra, is speaking against yourself. Speaking against your desires. And it's so easy to do this. But essentially, this is the negative inner conversation that we have of doubt. And whenever we're in that doubt, and we're continuing to re-engage that conversation of when's it going to happen? Why hasn't it happened yet? Well, what about this detail of it? Well, this didn't work in the past. Well, so why is it not? Da-da-da-da-da. All those vibrations are, in a way, speaking against your dream. But when you're focusing on what the dream is, I love this about this new place. I love this about this new house. Or focus on the details of, man, I'd like this in the windows. Or I know that it's coming in the right timing, and I know that it's working itself out. I love the feeling of finding a new place. I love the feeling of stepping in and smelling the fresh air. I like how the carpets are clean. I like how, or shift over to like my business, I like how these ideas have been coming through. I know that it's all coming together. I know that when I'm feeling good, I'm in the place to be of the greatest service. I'm the most inspired. I'm remembering the times when I've taken inspired action. I'm remembering the lives that I've touched. I like the process of creation, right? Just giving yourself permission to speak for your desires and noticing whenever you're speaking against yourself. And that's the easy part. Now, a little bit harder is the speaking against other people. And we can get engaged in, and this again comes back to needing other people to change for us to be happy. But as soon as you can start noticing these things coming back to source, coming back to our own center, and remembering that, last thing, focusing on feeling good is actually the most important thing. And the more that we're focusing on feeling good, the more we're in alignment, the more we're in that flow state. And the more that your vibration naturally rises. So, thank you guys for tuning in into this video. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up if you got some value. And also, please leave a comment if you feel called. of what inspired you in this video. And if you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe and hit the bell for regular videos are coming out to help you stay tuned into alignment. Peace, my friend, and I will see you on the next video.